You want to be a writer, publish your own book, and make money online. You'd like to work anywhere and spend quality time with your family. But how do you do it? How do you learn to write? How do you start? I started out with around 1,000 impressions in Twitter before I started the online writing habit. When I joined an online writing course, it shot up to around 50,000 impressions a month. Let me show you. This is a view of my analytics in the past few months in an online tool called ilo.so. Here you'll see how many impressions I've had in the past few months, just as I started to build the habit of writing online. I started out not knowing about online writing and essays. Then by May, when I joined an online writing course we published on Twitter, we would start collecting data on how many impressions we were getting and how many followers we were getting. So in April, I only had around 8,000 impressions. In the next few months, I started to maintain around 50,000 impressions monthly. As you can see, this online writing course has helped me develop an audience and helped me form some daily writing habits. And what are those daily writing habits? What is this online course that I'm talking about? If you'd like to develop the habit of writing online, one of the online courses known for teaching this is Ship 30 for 30 by Dickie Bush and Nicholas Cole. What is Ship 30 for 30? It is an online cohort-based writing course that teaches the fundamentals of writing on the internet. Unlike other online writing courses, you put your learning into practice by publishing for 30 days. So I learned about Ship 30 for 30 from one of my mentors, Julia Saxena. I interviewed Julia Saxena and asked her where I could possibly learn to write. She said I should try out Ship 30 for 30. I checked out Ship 30 for 30 and I discovered, oh, pretty interesting. Its price point is relatively affordable compared to other online writing courses that I've seen, and I've seen the actual output of people who were part of the course. Ship 30 for 30 comes with a promise, the promise of building an online writing habit, and by the end of which you'd have 30 pieces of written content which you can use as foundation for your future writing. You'll also be learning frameworks, skills, and techniques for your online writing. At the onset, Dickie and Cole tell us about the common struggles of writers, distractions, over-editing, perfectionism, and so on. They try to address this by building habits for online writing. There are 3 daily online writing habits that Dickie and Cole recommend we build up. The first daily writing habit is to create sacred hours. So what are sacred hours? Sacred hours are those blocked off chunks of time which you dedicate for writing. Note that you don't find sacred hours, but you create sacred hours. These are the times where you should be unreachable, you should be off the grid, and you should defend this ruthlessly so you have time to write every day. I remember when I started Ship 30 for 30, my sacred hours were in the morning. I discovered that when I wake up, after I get my cup of coffee, I sit down in front of my computer and start writing. My ideas flow easily because normally the night before, I'd be thinking about what I'd be writing for the next day. And when I wake up, it's just easy for me to write and churn out content. So that's the first writing habit, create your sacred hours. The second online writing habit I learned from Ship 30 for 30 is the creation of constraints. There are multiple constraints designed in the course itself. One is 300-word essays. The next is write every day for 30 minutes to an hour. Why these constraints? This prevents you from overthinking it, from thinking too many different things. It forces you to trim down what you can write about within 30 minutes or within 250 to 300 words. That little constraint helps you be creative, and I found it really works for me. Third daily writing habit addresses our challenges of what to write. So Ship 30 for 30 advocates having a capture log of ideas. We publish publicly daily on Twitter, and what I've learned is when I start engaging with other people or reading what they've written, I get ideas on what to write about myself, and these form the basis of my writing. Capture all those ideas that you get from online, from the articles you read, from the books you read, from the people you engage with. And when you started to collect ideas for your writing, this becomes the seeds for your endless content generator. You start off first with some content buckets. Now, what are content buckets? These buckets refer to your audience. Who are you writing for? Nicholas Cole introduces 3 content buckets: the general audience bucket, your niche audience bucket, and your industry or company bucket. A general audience bucket will be to talk about productivity. A niche audience bucket would be to talk about a specific tools for productivity. An industry audience bucket will be the future of productivity. The general audience are for almost everybody. For example, you're talking about productivity. What kind of productivity articles would be interesting for your general audience? Examples: 7 ways to become a productive person without being so obsessive about tracking what you do every day. That's an example of a general audience title that could form the basis of your essay. Now, you can trim down the general audience to a particular niche that you're interested in. For example, you are interested in productivity tools. 7 ways to use Todoist as a productivity tool. You will now niche down from the general audience of productivity to a specific audience that uses a productivity software, in this case Todoist. An industry audience bucket refers to your industry, the future of software productivity. An example of a title for this is: by the year 2050, productivity software will be embedded in the brain. So it's really geared towards the industry that you're talking about, to your productivity industry. After you've identified your content buckets or who you're writing for, your audience, you can now use the Endless Idea Generator. Endless Idea Generator is one of my favorite frameworks. You start off with a 4A direction, what direction you want to take. You combine it with a proven approach. There are at least 10 different proven approaches, like lessons learned, mistakes, how to, and then putting your credibility. Why should people listen to you? Add those 3 things in different combinations to give you endless ideas of what to write about. Here's how it looks like. So first, pick a direction. Is it an actionable direction? Is it an analytical direction? Is it an aspirational direction? Or is it an anthropological direction? Actionable is here's how. Analytical are here's the numbers, here's the quantitative data. Aspirational, yes you can. Anthropological, here's why. Combine this with a proven approach. Proven approach usually are how to, lessons learned, mistakes, quotes, tools, trends, stats. Combine these 2. For example, you can talk about something that's actionable. I want to be able to scan text with any device that I have. You can have an how-to that is actionable. Here's how you can scan text using an iPhone. Something actionable that you combine with an approach, how to approach. And step 3 is why me? Why should people believe you? What's credible? And there are 3 ways to approach your credibility. One is, I'm an expert on this topic. Normally, if you have experience, you are an expert in certain topics. Another way to approach this is to have credibility because you curated content. You talked to experts in the field, you looked at their podcasts, you looked at books on this topic, and this is what you learned. Another approach towards credibility is I'm sharing an opinion. This is my take on this article or book or podcast. This is my opinion. So those are the daily writing habits I learned from Ship 30 for 30. The first one is to create your sacred hours. Second is to put creative constraints. And the third is to have a capture log which you can use as seeds for your content buckets and your endless idea generator. And there you have it. That's the online cohort-based writing course called Ship 30 for 30 by Dickie Bush and Nicholas Cole. where I learned my 3 daily writing habits. I hope you learned from these writing habits. If you're interested to take the course, check on the link in the description and check out my videos on note-taking for writing using Obsidian. That's it. Bye-bye. Till next time, subscribe and like the channel.